Before I get to blue cards, I'm going to end up just giving you a little perspective. I'm the only one uniquely qualified to do this because I want everybody to make it, or I want to make it clear to everybody that I'm the one who went out and solicited the opportunity for the town of Oro Valley to actually buy or entertain the process. I approached three buyers. The first one was actually, I can't tell you who it was, but it was in June. That deal fell through. Then we approached MetLife, and MetLife knew the valuation of this golf course, and they wanted $2.5 million for it. So then there was a hiatus. Month of August, we didn't have any council meetings, and there was not another buyer. HSL Properties entered into the pictures, and so I approached HSL, and I said, we had a conversation engaged with whether we want to purchase the El Conquistador Country Club and its associated amenities. Would you be interested in that? HSL said, you know what? We're not in the golf course business, so why don't we do our due diligence, and if it pans out, we'll be glad to entertain that conversation with you. So it panned out, and we entertained the conversation. So this thing has been started for 5 months. And I want people to know that it wasn't started or it wasn't continued unilaterally by me, and this is where Kelly may gavel me, but it was a direction by council for me to engage and do due diligence to find out if just what's out there, would it be cost benefit, and there was a cap that was actually placed on me. So I did that. And so the surprise that some council members exhibit, like we're springing it up and this smells, we're rushing too fast, I don't understand that, because it was that direction from council that I got. The confidentiality issue in the private world, in the private sector, sometimes you enter into what's called non-disclosure agreements. And what that means in plain English is that it's a confidentiality agreement that you're not allowed to talk about. And that's why government has executive sessions. So it's not that we're trying to hide something from you, that's just the process. I, for the record, did not sign a non-disclosure agreement, but I was asked by the original buyer and I was asked by HSL, please do not disclose who we are to the general public, because they wanted those talks in confidence, and I honor that. As a gentleman, it was a handshake agreement, and I honor that. And that's why it feels rushed, is because we couldn't release it from a commitment that I had made. So if you want to direct the anger at somebody, abstain these 6 and direct that anger with me, because that was my responsibility, and I do not break confidentiality. So we're talking about many questions. There's a 3-legged stool here. HSL is going to buy the Hilton property. That's a completely separate deal than what the town of Oro Valley is entering into. Whether they buy the property or not, that's up to them. Whether they're good purveyors of that property or not, that's not for me to decide. But HSL knows the market value is about $2.5 million. And actually, we just found out today it's about $3.5 million. So why would you ask yourself, why is HSL going to sell the property to the town of Oro Valley for $1 million? All of that. Very, very good question. It's because they know their success depends on who manages this golf course. In order to retain the Hilton flagship, they need to be a golf and tennis resort. So could they make $1.5 million times more by selling it to, now there's a third person waiting in line that I know to be a fact? So could they sell it to them and make a quick hit? Absolutely. Bert Lopez is not dumb. He needs somebody to invest in the golf course, and we want that investment because it isn't the golf course that we were initially after. It was the country club. It was the acquisition of the country club and what that can do for bettering our community. So, but it only works for Lopez and it only works for the town if you have a good practice management company. So those of you who are golfers and non-golfers alike, tuned to the golf world, in my opinion, and many other people's opinion, is like Rolex to watches. They're that good. And Troon's investment and HSL's investment only works if the town of Oro Valley lays out a capital improvement plan over the course of 8 to 10 years, and we create that revenue in order to invest that capital. So it is a 3-legged stool. And all three of us are equally vested into it. So we talk about benefits of owning 300 and plus acres. I think it's 330 or 340 acres. If you have another private investor that comes in, and I know because I'm a small business and I'm a for-private business, the odds of them bare bonesing it, like the Hilton did for the last 8 to 10 years, results in why the capital expenditures are so large now. It's been a neglected property. So as mayor and as council and as town staff and as residents, you should be concerned about 330, 340 acres in the middle of the town of Oro Valley. What's going to happen to that? You have 800 neighbors, friends, family, acquaintances that live along that golf course. If that goes brown, what do you do? So this is not strictly about, oh, I like to golf, let's buy a golf course. It is not about that at all. And you're talking about, I have heard that HSL is a proprietor that just runs hotels to the ground. So even if that's true, let's follow logic. Why would you want that golf course? Why would you want 300 plus acres in the middle of our town under somebody's control who some people truly believe is going to be, who truly is going to fail? See, the logic isn't there. It doesn't make sense. And then you want to talk about the campaign contributions. Help me explain this logically. You got a guy that contributed to my campaign, and yet the valuation is $3.5 million, and he's going to sell it to me for $1 million. Where's the logic in that? I should be paying him. So the point I'm trying to make is, if HSL was selling that property to me as representative of the town of Oro Valley for $6 million, $7 million, I would get it. And I'd be right there with you. So don't believe everything that you read in the media. And here's the frustrating thing about the media. The media knows this because I have been forthright with the media and told the media exactly what I'm telling you now. And they choose to print what they choose to print. I can't control that. How many hear that the Ritz sold for $1? Is that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? You actually think a $20 million golf course sold for $1? I talked to the owner, David Meal, who actually was part of that transaction. And while technically that's true, they sold it for $1. It was a very convoluted, complex agreement, which he swore me to confidentiality, so I can't tell you, but he did. What he did tell me is that the receivables today are still being forwarded from that transaction, and they're very sizable receivables. So the point I'm trying to make is that while it technically sold for $1, it was a much, much larger convoluted issue than that. And so you're talking about sales tax. So the sales tax issue that we're talking about, there's basically few different revenue sources: property tax, utility tax, renter's tax, commercial lease tax, and sales tax. The other four, 100% of the burden has to be shouldered by Oro Valley residents. It is a true dollar for dollar. We have no other recourse to pay for it except you. Sales tax currently, 30% of our general fund, roughly. Or if you're looking at the total fund, 25%. So 30 cents of every dollar is being paid by a visitor. And if you look at what the town of Oro Valley has done over the last 4 or 5 years, annexation of Tohono Chul, the archery range, investment in the aquatic center, acquiring the children's museum, development of Narana Park site, all those are gathered to try to attract more tourism to the town. So that way, that 30 cents can go up to 42, 45, 50 cents on the dollar. So that method actually has less of a burden on you than any other revenue generating source, because you're paying a true dollar for a dollar. And people have talked about bonding. Why would I want to take a loan out and pay interest for something that we can pay cash for as we go along? And then last but certainly not least, people are telling me I have nothing to lose. I have everything to lose. Since 1990, when I moved to this town, when it was 5,000 to 6,000 people strong, Everything I've done has been to try to better this community. And I'd like to think I have a solid reputation in trying to better people's lives in this community. So when people tell me I have nothing to lose, I don't buy that. I'm the guy who went out and solicited this deal because my job as your mayor is to provide opportunities for success. And we are here tonight to not emotionally discuss this project. We are here tonight to logically discuss this project without emotion so we can cipher out, is this an opportunity we want to pursue or is this an opportunity we want to let go? But either way, the deadline is going to be tonight. And I tell you why, because my commitment, because they have 2 other buyers waiting in line, is that we'll give them an up and down vote. So the facts are not going to change. The facts of why we want to acquire it, the facts of preserving 300 and some acres in the middle of our town, the facts that we have over 800 homeowners who are looking at that property who are going to be directly affected. Those are the facts, and they're not going to change today. They're not going to change 30 days from now. They're not going to change a year from now. But I get it. I understand that. And if you don't think I have fear and trepidation, you are completely mistaken. But I will tell you, on that side of the table or that side of the room right there are some of the best talented individuals that are paid and charged with not getting us in trouble, i.e. not getting you in trouble.